Okay, students, so we want to review the Vlookup function, which is required for your SBA. Now, here we see you have two tables in your spreadsheet. The main table, and I have it listed here as main table, and it has a number of fields. Note carefully that the region field is empty. That is because we want to fill in the region. This is your main table, and you notice that it is very long as I scroll through, and there are more than 150 records in this table. The second table, which is a smaller one, is the one where we get our data from our source table, also called the lookup array. And you notice that it only has two fields. Now, the letter above the fields does not matter. What matters is that before array, when we are doing our lookup, the first field here in this case it says state or province. That is the lookup range, the name that we will look up. And on the next field, which is the one to the right, you have the region which needs to appear over here on our main table. Now, because there are more than 100 records in this table, we do not want to type the region in for each of these. That would take an awful long time. Now, this table is actually shorter than the original table. I just took out some of the records, but yet it's still over 150. And you do not want to be typing west and east and central and so on all night. And therefore, we will use a VLOOKUP function to find that region. Now let's open this field a little bit so that we have enough room to work with. And I just made some room over here. Good. Now, step one, very, very important. You have two choices. For your lookup range or lookup array, you can use absolute as a reference for that table when you refer to it, or alternate, which is the method that we prefer to use, we will rename the range. Now, you may or may not include the headings of the table. It doesn't matter. What I'm going to do is select from the first, let's say the first state, which is Washington, go across to include the region, and select all the way down, Georgia being the last one. Now, what you were taught before is that having selected the range, you go over here to the name box, and you click not the drop down arrow, but right in the name box itself, so that the address is selected. This case is saying K4, which is the very first cell in the range. I am now going to rename that range, that entire range, to a name that I will remember. What I'm going to do, I'm going to use a capital for the first letter, and then type the other letters in common letters. So I'm going to call this state region, spelled as one word, absolutely no spaces. So it's STATEREGION. And following the format that we have been practicing, you notice that I use a capital letter for the beginning of each word once I'm joining those words together. Once I've got the name that I want and it's meeting the syntax of the program, I can now press enter on my keyboard, and that is the main enter key, not the one on the number pad, the one that you normally use when you are typing. And there you have it. Now I can test that by clicking on another cell so as to deselect the range. If now go back over here at the name box and click on the drop down button, I will see my name state region is there. If I click on it, you'll notice that the range is selected again. That's one way of testing it. The other way that you can test to see if you have really renamed the range is by going back and reselecting the entire range again. Make sure you do not include any extra cells, not exclude any. And when you check in the name box again, you see the name comes back up. Two ways of making the check. Now, to the Vlookup function. I will go to my first state, and I will begin my function by typing the equal sign. You already know that you must start all formally with an equal sign. Then the keyword in the case is Vlookup, followed by open parenthesis. Now if you look below where I have been typing, you notice that you have your tips across there. So I ask for the lookup value. The question is, where do you look for the lookup value? In your class, you were taught to look to the left for the lookup value. In this example, it's to the right. It does not matter. It is here, Washington. I want to know the region for Washington. So I'm going to click on Washington so that you see in my formula now I have C4, which is the address of Washington. Now, why would I want to have the address there instead of the word Washington? Because I want to be able to go and change Washington to any other state and still get the region correct. And of course, I'm going to copy my formula all the way down, and you see that on every line you have a different state, and some cases 3-4 states are the same, and then it goes on to another state. So I want the addresses and not the actual value. Now, as usual, the next thing that comes is the separator, which is all comma. If you look at your tip, you see that now highlighted is table array. What is your table array? This thing right here that we call the lookup array. Now, since that we have already renamed this range, there's no need to go back and select it again. We already know what the name is, and it is state region, and you must spell it exactly the same way that was typed before. Capital S, T-A-T-E, capital R, E-G-I-O-N. And you see it goes in red. Also, if you look over to the right, you'll notice that the entire range is also in red with a red border. That tells me that the name is spelled correctly. My next move, add another separator, comma, after the state. And you see it's asking for on the column index number. Now remember what I said earlier. This first column is column 1. But my region is in column 2. The first column to the right of the first column is column 2. So therefore, I'm saying to the program, look for the state or province in the first column, and whatever is in the second column, which is column 2, that is what must be used as a region. So therefore, I'm going to type the number 2. Recapping. First, the program asks me what is my lookup value that I'm going to use in the lookup array. I went to the right on this occasion. Other times I have gone to the left, but because my state or provinces are on the right, I went to the right, and my address was C4. I put my separator. Then it asked me for my table array. I know the name of my table array because I've already typed it. So I typed it in. The selection comes up on the table and I put my net separator. It then asks me where to look for the value that I want to put in the B column. When I go to my lookup, my table array, I notice that it is in the second column counting from the left. Therefore, I type the number 2. Now, if it was over one more column, like in the M column, then my number would have been 3. But in this case, it is a number 2. I put one more separator. The next part I do not want you to worry about. All you're going to do is to type the word false. False. Don't worry about what it means. Just type the word false and close your parenthesis. Your formula is now complete. Press the enter key and there you have it. If you look over here in the table array, you see Washington is in the west region. When you come back here on your main table, you see that the word west now falls on the region. So how do we get it to the other states or provinces? Simply copy the formula down. And you already know how to do that. You go to that little square at the bottom right hand corner of your select box. You grab it with your mouse and you drag it all the way down. When you get to the last record, release, and there you have it. All of the regions are now stated throughout the entire table. That's the end of our Vlookup. Again, great recap. First you have to select your entire table array and rename it, as you see I have up here. Then you go to your first record on the region and you type your VLOOKUP statement equal VLOOKUP. Then you have the reference value, which is in this case in C4. Then you ask for the table array. That is where you type the name that you have called your range. Then you ask for which column to look in for the value that you want to insert, and it's in the second column. So therefore you type the number 2, and finally you type the word false. Once you have done that, you can close your parentheses and press the enter key. After that, the only thing left to be done is a copy your formula all the way to the bottom. Nice and easy. I hope you understand.